Hey, do you want to win more of your games? Do you want to have life be more successful? Do you want to have your business grow? Well, today I want to talk about this concept of momentum. You know, the big mo, everybody talks about it. In sports, it's obvious, and we'll talk about that. But in business, not so much. And of course, there's a very old song that was something about when you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. And that's a description of momentum, right? Where we've lost momentum or we've got our momentum. And that's where we want to go today. So this is about momentum. How, in fact, do you build it? And I'm going to share a screen with you and let's talk about it. Let's see, where did it go? Where did it go? It's right here in front of me somewhere. Yes, it is. And go. So you should be seeing that. How do you build momentum? And of course, in my mind, this is one of the big subjects of business. Generally speaking, I would say that companies that are succeeding, agents that are succeeding, people in business that are succeeding are usually working off momentum. So let's talk about where it comes from, how it was created. By the way, this is the booklet, if you will, the cover for this program. And it's really going to revolve around creating a morning momentum ritual. And that's really what it's all about, is how do we create our own energy? How do we create our own momentum? And the morning is a perfect place to do it. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we want to make sure, and if you've been part of my other programs, if you've seen this before, I wouldn't doubt it. And of course, to me, it's one of the great diagrams that really describes how life and all of it works, because it's about how do we, where do we break into the cycle? Now, I met Jim Rohn many years ago. He was my early day mentor. I was 18 years old, got into a room where he was speaking and was blown away. This was a diagram he gave me when I went to, and some of you, if you see any of my social, I talk about him quite often. And one of the experiences was that in that time frame, when I was just a kid, I wanted to go to his programs. I kind of was like, I want to be you and do what you do and all of that. And I went to his leadership management program. It cost me at that time $1,000, which would be like a $5,000 program. I was 18. And I sold everything that I could find to liquidate and create the money to go. And this was one of the diagrams that I got that I never forgot. I've used it thousands of times. And I know that even Tony Robbins, because we both came from the same place, I was 18, Tony was 17. We were working together back then. We both loved this so much. He's sort of adopted it as I have. But the basic premise of it is this. You have potential. A certain amount of potential is human potential. I talk about the human potential movement. That's what we're building, right? We have our potential. Then, of course, based on the amount of potential we tap into, we go, well, we're only tapping 10% of our brain power. Yeah, it's only 10% of our potential. And of course, even if you're brilliant, I think they said even the most brilliant people are only tapping into a very small percentage of our true potential. Then based on that, we take a certain amount of action. And during that action, if it's a lot of action, right action, massive action, as Jim used to say, we get bigger results. If we take lesser action because our potential is being tapped less, we're tapping into less of it. We're not pushing ourselves. Nobody's pushing us. That's what a coach does. Nobody's pushing us. Then we tap into less of our potential. We take less action, lower quality action. We get a lesser result. Now, based on the result, higher results, greater results, or lesser results, we then verify our self-identity, if you will. We identify with it. We go, see, told you it wasn't possible for me, or, this is a new version of me that I'm accepting, and it becomes my new certainty. I'm capable. I know I can do it. I'm that guy. I'm that woman. I'm that person who can get this done. And I know myself, and I'm strong enough, and I'm big enough, and gosh darn it, people really like me, I think was the phrase from the old comedy skit. So then we have that belief system that's reinforced, or the certainty that comes in. And based on that, we take then a different amount of, tap into a different amount of our potential. a lot more or a lot less, right? It's like, well, I'm a screw up anyway. I've never been able to do that. You understand? I was raised on the wrong side of the tracks. I was raised from that family, et cetera, et cetera. And so we have the story that holds us back, or we have this new belief system, this new certainty that creates then more tapping into potential than bigger actions. And so momentum looks like a spiral up, or momentum looks like a spiral down. And in either case, it's momentum. We've lost it, we've got it. So with that in mind, I want to talk about this because when you're thinking about preparing to win, and I said you want to win more in your business, when you're thinking about winning, of course, I go to sports and I'm a big sports fan, played virtually every one of the sports represented here, except soccer. I never was really into soccer. But when I look at this, and I think every single one of these types of athletes are walking into the arena, onto the field, onto the court. And when they come into the day that the game is being played, probably when they come into even practice, they have a ritual. I don't know what the whole ritual is, but what I know is included in the ritual is they've all got headphones. It was easy to find pictures and graphics of this because every one of them is wearing headphones. Now, what's pumping into their head? I don't know. Could be inspiring music. Could be something that just pumps them up. It could be that it's a sports psychologist who's in their head about, something that they've been struggling with, the free throw shot that they keep missing that used to be automatic. Golf, it's the yips, even for that 3-foot putt, oh my gosh, I'm missing them all. There's always that self-doubt, right? In tennis. And notice, of course, that you've got team sports here and individual sports. In both cases, momentum is critical. In one of them, the only way to generate it is through you. In the other one, you've got a team. Somebody else sparks it. Awesome shot, awesome play, blocked the shot, intercepted the pass, something happens, and bam, the team is spiraling up. We got momentum. We go down and score, and then boom, we're back in business. We're really moving, right? So, I've seen teams swing radically. I remember when I had season tickets to they weren't quite courtside, but they were close to the LA Lakers, and was watching a game on site in LA, Dallas Mavericks, and the Dallas Mavericks were beating them so badly, I left the game. They were up by like 29 points. You can find this game. It's very famous. And the Lakers were losing, and I was like, this is a lost cause. I'm out of here. And on the way home, I'm listening to the game to, finally catch how bad it was and catch the plays that I wanted to hear about. And of course, the Lakers climbed back out, won it by 2 or by 4 in the closing seconds. One of the biggest biggest comebacks in history. And what do you think sparked that? Well, again, it's a shot, it's a play, it's something. And suddenly the guys are belly bumping and, high-fiving and slapping each other on the rear. And all of that momentum, right, creates a new result. And it gets bigger and better and whatever. And of course, the other team was going like this. They're getting defeated and things are not happening on their behalf. And they spiral down and they start losing hope. And they can't believe they've let this amazing lead slip out. So they start feeling bad about themselves and they tap into less potential. Anyway, this is the cycle of life. It's certainly the cycle of business. So with that in mind, how do you create the momentum that you want, the ritual for the momentum you want? And of course, I'm going to talk about this concept of game time. But let's talk first about momentum because it's a critical piece of our success. And most of us have never thought about how we generate it, like how we get it done. So if I said to you, hey, you need to make 50 calls this week and 10 a day, and you go, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then you don't make the calls, and then you don't make the calls, and you don't make the calls. What is that? Well, we can't get ourselves to pick up the phone to make the first call, because we make the first call, then we're more inclined to make the second call and the third call. Then we get a result and we go, wow, that was exciting. I want to do more of these. And we start the momentum. But how do you step in? Well, that's why I wanted to give you that diagram, potential action, result, and of course, certainty, where we start to have more certainty about our results. And by the way, don't be surprised if using that example of calling, don't be surprised if tomorrow when you go to start again, that you're not riding on yesterday's momentum. You got to create it again today. You might have just the same heavy hand when it comes to picking up your cell phone and going, I got to make the first call. Oh my gosh, it's hard. It was easy yesterday after you got in momentum, but today you're starting from scratch. So, Tony Robbins said people who succeed have momentum. The more they succeed, the more they succeed, the more they want to succeed, and the more they find a way to succeed. So literally, it's breeding itself. Success breeds success. Failure breeds failure. It's very common. So again, really important that we start thinking through this mindset, this way of doing things. And again, it's very important to realize, like Lou Holtz, one of the greatest coaches of all times, Notre Dame was where he got his notoriety. Momentum is whatever your attitude determines it to be. We're creating. It's not like what's happening to me and then, okay, this is exciting, I'll get momentum. No, this is how I generate it. This is my energy that I'm spinning up. So with that in mind, we've got Nick Vujicic. If you don't know Nick, amazing character, born with no arms and no legs. He's got a finger and he's got a couple digits that he uses. It's crazy, but his phrase about momentum is keep moving ahead because action creates momentum. That's true, right? And then which in turn creates unanticipated opportunities. What we know is that we get luckier and luckier the more momentum we create. So that's where we're headed. So here's my question for you. We talked about the athletes. They come into the arena. They got the headphones on. They walk into the court, the building. They go into the gym. They've got somebody ready to tape them up. They've got maybe a cold plunge they go in. They've got, maybe they go out and warm up, do some stretching. They got their trainer stretching them. They have a ritual. They have a way of doing things. And of course, then you get to the place where you realize that they've got the shoot around ritual. Then they get work up into a hot, sweaty mess. Then they go in, they shower, they get ready again. They've got this ritual. It could be 3 hours long. Kobe Bryant used to show up super early, and what a champion, right? So in the end, I want you to have yours. And the first thing you have to identify is what time is game time. What time is your start? The game in baseball is 7:05 p.m. The game in basketball is either 7 or 7:30, pretty universally throughout the NBA. Game time for baseball, for football is usually 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I forget the different times, 12 o'clock, it depends on where you are central, but those times are standardized. So we have a game, it's going to be this Sunday. We know exactly what we're aiming for. Our practice even leads up to the momentum of the game. Our body, making sure our body is in position and, not hurting, is all about timing. When's game time? So for you, what time is that? Is that 8:30 in the morning? Is it 8 o'clock in the morning? Is it 7 o'clock? When you go from family and personal into, that's business time, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 8:30, 9 o'clock. By the way, your time, it's your time. What I would suggest to you is it shouldn't be like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. It's got to be early enough that you can actually have this full day, this day of momentum. But you decide. So what time is game time? Right now, write it down. What time will you commit that that's when you start? Then all things that have to happen, family, personal, making breakfast, making lunches, whatever it is, happens before that. Okay, so game time critical. Second one, what things make up your momentum, morning momentum ritual? What do you want in there? So with that in mind, of course, I've given you some opportunities, some options. But again, go to the end of this as a whole list. Go to the end. Wake up time is not the decider. The game time is the decider. And then you go through each of these and you go, what do I want my morning ritual to include? And by the way, these aren't all things. This is some things. These are some things that I have found helpful. You're going to take some time for dressing. I got the question marks there for anything that you might come up with, whether it goes there or somewhere else. Which, by the way, anyway, I'm going to leave that alone. Connecting with family. So that could be breakfast around the breakfast table with everybody in the family. So we connect in the morning. How are you guys doing? What's happening at school today? What are you doing with your summer vacation day? What do like all of that? The protein breakfast, high protein breakfast, net time, something that you can be doing something you can be listening to while you're working out, while you're walking, while you're running, while you're getting momentum going. By the way, moving, walking, in all situations, movement, workout, all of that creates energy. I know we think we're tired, but it's created energy. It's spun up our energy in our body. It lights up all the positive emotions and gets you ready for the day. Reading, inspiration, whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, that's your job. Figure it out. What is your commitment to your ritual that will put you on fire so that at game time, you walk into it ready to go. You don't walk in at 8:30 and go, all right, what am I going to do now? Let's see. I got to get ready. I got to get some lists. I got to, it's like, no, you've already lost it. If you showed up to game time on the basketball court and said, okay, I'm kind of ready to start warming up, the game is over before you're ready. So I want you to get into it and come into it ready to roll your protein, just that first fuel, that protein shake, that, some people have some weird shakes. Morning questions, what lights you up? Your daily gratitude journal, praying, meditating, priming, that's a breathing technique. Look it up. Warm lemon water first thing in the morning flushes the system. Stretching, very important. I could be laying in bed next to Allison and stretching just gently, just starting to stretch the body, just rolling my shoulders, just moving my toes, rotating things. I can do all that. I don't have to even get up to do that, right? Stretching starts to affect the lymphatic glands and starts to give you a much better body health. Okay, and then wake up time. So you got to take all of that game time, then roll back. What are the things I'm going to do? How long? Add it all up. Boom. What time is my wake up time? So again, don't dictate the wake up time. Dictate the game time and then work backwards, okay? Then we talked about morning questions. What morning questions? Well, what am I most excited about today? So I'm going to give you this. This is part of what's going to come with this program, and you're going to be able to walk right into it and get all that good stuff figured out. So very important for you, what morning questions set the tone for your mindset. Remember this idea of certainty. Well, in that certainty, in those belief systems, gratitude feeds right into it. So we're going to go, what am I most excited about in my life? What's the best part of being me today? What am I committed to in my life right now? What am I committed to? Not interested in, committed to, right? So these are the questions. You'll get a chance to do these, and I would recommend every single morning as part of any ritual that you create, that you make this part of that, okay? Answering the questions, getting into the emotion of the answers, all of that will create energy, which creates the potential tapping, which creates the action and the results and the certainty, and the spiral starts. This is exactly how you build momentum each and every day. Okay, then we got the evening questions, and the evening questions are those that will put your mind in gear, working on things during the night while you're sleeping, that will be processing your goals, your thoughts, your energy, all of that. So again, you're going to give you restful sleep, you're going to focus on the things that really matter, you're going to focus on the inner being, not what are you doing, what are you being, who are you being? And that's going to happen through the evening questions. For example, was I a giver today? Right? So I want to ask these questions of my subconscious right before I go to sleep, because this is what's going to work on it. If I was not a giver today, what did I give today? I don't know. I can't think of anything. Well, then it's working on how can I be a giver? If that's a priority for you, if that's a value, then it's going to be working on it. And tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to go, I really want to do this for somebody. I really want to give this to somebody. What learning experience did I create today? And by the way, learning experiences can be the positive. The smartest people in the world learn from even the worst situations. Like, I didn't have success. We don't generally grow as much from the things that go right as we do and learn from the things that go wrong or not up to our expectations. Okay, really not right and wrong. It's everything. If you fail, it's a learning experience, right? Edison and his 10,000 light bulb experiments, one of them worked to the end, right? That's became our light bulb. 10,000 ways to not do it. All of them were valuable learning because it put them on the path to getting that one. How has today added to the quality of my life? Am I invested, right? So these are the questions that will really turn your mind into a manufacturing plant to create the energy. So when you wake up in the morning, you already wake up with positivity and, more than anything, momentum in the start. Then it sets you in motion for the next day. So again, how do we start a perfect day? We do it starting last night. How do we create a perfect day on paper in calendar? We plan it yesterday. All right, so this is just the good stuff. We're going to also make this available to you, the morning rituals for game days, 5 to 6 days a week. Remember, ritual for game days. What are your game days? What is your game time? Morning focus questions, energizing your morning, being able to recreate energy anytime. And by the way, some of these pieces that you will use in your morning ritual will also be things that if you're rolling through your day and you get to 2 o'clock and you're, yawning and just not into it anymore, or, late in the morning and you're like, I'm just getting off track. I went into Facebook to make a strategic post and I read everybody else's and got off track, or took 40 minutes, my energy went down. How do you recreate energy? I'm guessing you're going to be able to borrow from some of your morning ritual. Could be a 5-minute YouTube video that you would like to watch in the morning, that you watch that sparks you. I know that Denzel Washington's got one that I just love. I know that there's some that use Matthew McConaughey and, of course, Tony Robbins and different people, different speakers in 5, 6, 7 minutes. Boom, I can watch that, get the energy from it, make the calls, get the energy from it, start my marketing, whatever it is, right? Move into it with momentum. And then, of course, what you have to realize is that masterpieces take time. So really important for each and every one of you. Let's go back here for just a quick second. I want you to think about what yours looks like. And before we leave, I'd like you to write down, first of all, I asked you earlier, what's game time? Second, what are the elements that you want to make sure you're doing every day, every morning before you get started? So take just a couple minutes. You can borrow from this list. You can make up some things on your own. What things need to be part of your momentum, your morning momentum ritual, okay? Write them down. Get them all. How long? What does it look like? Do you read books? Do you Audible? Audible is a great way to do that net time, that no extra time. That's what net stands for, no extra time. While I'm running, I'm listening to a book. While I'm running, I'm listening to a YouTube, which I don't need to see. I need to listen to it, right? So again, think of your ways of energizing. I get up, I instantly drink some warm lemon water. I then what? What's my next step? And next step. And again, you can roll from your wake up time forward, but in the end, you're not going to know what that dictates in terms of game time until you then go back to game time and reverse engineer those very things you just put in place. So what else? What else needs to be in there? Masterpieces take time. What are you giving? What are you giving time to? Morning questions. I mean, it's not long. It's 7 questions, but to think it through, to feel the emotion between who loves me, who do I love, to think through some faces that will pop in, to feel the love, right? It's going to take some time. This is not a 7 questions takes 30 seconds. This is 7 questions takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Your evening questions. How long do you give that? What time do you start that in the evening? Is that right before you go to bed, or does it energize you so much? Is it in place of TV? Where do you put this? And of course, right here, we didn't finish the list, but visualizing and practicing your routines, your procedures, your presentations, your call scripts, right? Visualizing, practicing those things. Expanding your love and feeling gratitude. Well, I'm telling you, the highest vibration in the world. If you've never listened to my Think Big, Live Big, creating an undefeatable mindset video, you got to get it. It's a class. It's almost 2 hours, and I want you to get it. And in there, we talk about the highest vibration in the world is love. That's the vibration that we all seek out. It's the high vibration. It's like, wow, it's around that person. I just feel the energy, right? I feel that connection. And right there alongside love is gratitude. Gratitude for being alive, love of my life. Evening reflection questions, and of course, journaling. Where do you write your discoveries? Where do you write your learnings? Where do you write what concerns you, what stops you? And then let that come out. Just let it come out. And then where do you move into the next step? All right. So we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to turn it into your time to go get this stuff done. Remember, masterpieces take time, and you are a masterpiece. You were born that way. And when you remember that, you're going to be the person that you were intended to be by God. And you're going to be the servant to so many people, helping them change their lives. I look forward to being with you another time. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.